Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody. Old Guy Jammin' here. Thank you, Joe, for the very cool mug. Appreciate it. Tea tastes extra good out of that mug. And hey, Garrett, thank you for the pics that are created with your 3D printer. Pretty stiff. Got two varieties, a medium and a light, which is pretty cool. Kids today, huh? Entrepreneurs. And a pick holder made from the same 3D printer. That's pretty cool. Want to give a shout out to Lauren and Rebecca and Lil Hat. Always give a shout out to the coolest chicks on the planet. And if you haven't seen one of these, well, a perfect gift for any sound kind of guy, whether it's a drummer, bass player, just anybody that enjoys music. It's just called the Thunder Tube. Diaphragm, spring, hollow, shake. Anyway. It's great for cats. All right, so today we've got 3 pedals to review. And the first one is the Wampler Sovereign versus the MXR Super Badass Distortion. And you'll notice in the video that the Sovereign, it's a great pedal. I like it, but there was a flubbiness in the bottom of the EQ in the tone that I couldn't EQ out. And you'll notice, and it doesn't stack well with other pedals either. It doesn't play nice with other pedals, which is a no-go for a pedal board as far as I'm concerned. But the tones were really nice. We're going to put that up against the Super Badass. But I'll come back and talk a little later. But what you'll notice in the lead is that there's a big old on the lower strings and the lower tone strings, top strings, where the Badass Distortion doesn't have that same problem. All right, so it stays clear throughout, nice clarity, great tone, and you can push it with another pedal if you choose. All right, so let's get to that one first. High-tech panning. And in this next video, we have the REVV G2, pretty expensive pedal, up against the OCD GE. My thoughts later. Enjoy. All right, and to finish us off, we got the Gus G Signature Speed Demon against the OCD version 1.7, which is still down on my pedal board. I didn't want to pull it off. So you can just imagine. You've all seen them. There's millions of them out there. Well, those two are interesting, so we'll talk more about those in a second as well. All right, so, what'd you think? If you feel like it, hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up. That would be cool. So, like I was saying, the super badass distortion, I think, won out over the Wampler Sovereign. Although the Wampler Sovereign, as well as this one, turns up on top 10 distortion pedal lists all the time. And I can understand why that is. It has huge potential in the right setup. I know Mr. Wampler likes Fender products as well as single coil stuff, and I can see that flarpiness in the bottom end going away in such a setup. So, Could be he wired it up just for that. But it has a super nice open tone that's very similar to these two combined. If you were to combine the Badass and the Horseman, the Nux Horseman, these two are the open overdrive, really transparent open overdrive, and then this great distortion pedal with the 3-band EQ. You put these two together, and that's kind of the sound that you get from the Wampler Sovereign. It was good enough that I'd really like to try the Dracaris for my 6v6 amp. But then again, you know, I'm really kind of happy with what I have. But we'll see. We'll see if the itch gets strong enough to scratch. All right, and then second, we got this expensive Overdrive Distortion. And I thought it was most like this in tone and what you can do with it. I really like the OCD, especially on a 6v6 type amp, because this is already kind of scooped, and 6v6 amps are mid-strong. So this is a gem of a pedal. This, I don't understand all the hype. I didn't like it. I'm going to sell it. I got it for 120 bucks on Reverb, and it's currently on Craigslist for 160. The issue I had with this was that I could not get a proper blending of the 3-band parameters. A nice EQ will be set up so that you can have separate bass, middle, and treb. With notch filters, you can do low pass or high pass or a combination of both. The more components you use, the steeper the knee here, or the cutoff frequency. And you want those to be fairly sharp, but you don't want them too sharp that they can't be blended. And a nice EQ will allow the blending of your mids and your bass and your treble so that you can kind of overlap so that there's a seamless transition in the tone you would like. What I felt I got from this was an EQ section that was too rigid in those between frequencies. I couldn't get the blending of the mids and the bass and the treble that I wanted, so there was always gaps that I was hearing that were not pleasant to my ear. Does that make sense? Well, it should. Okay, so that was the Rev, and the Rev 3, the distortion pedal, is also super hyped, but I don't know. Based on the hype for this Rev 2, and it being what it is, I'm not buying it. I think it's hype. I think it's probably paid endorsements, or you do me a favor, I'll do you a favor, something like that. And then lastly was the Gusty Speed Demon, and this is a fun pedal. I'm going to keep it. It's close enough. It's very close to the OCD. It's just about exactly what the OCD is, except you don't have as much drive on tap. It's, for the most part though, it acts in my amp and on my pedal board in the same way. However, it has a really nice, it's not real transparent, but somewhat transparent. And you do have a nice, what you do have in Overdrive is usable. It's all, I think, usable. A nice amount of volume on tap, several dB worth of boost. It is a clean boost to semi-driven, kind of like the Soul Food. Not quite as heavy as the OCD, though. OCD has a lot more gain on tap. Very lightweight. Not a lot to it. But it's Gus G. And it was sold as being signed. And it's signed in the paint. It's not hand signed. And it was supposed to be, at one point, on one listing I saw it, only a hand on 250 of these made, which is true. That's true. It's a limited run pedal, so it's collectible. Speed Demon, but the signing is by Gus G right there, and it's in the paint. So whatever. But I like it. It's usable, and it's Gus G, for crying out loud. I wished I had my HT, my Black Star. I'd like to see if it boosted a Black Star better than most pedals. One thing I didn't like about the Black Star stuff is because of the tube, the lack of tubes in the preamp, they do not take pedals well as far as like boosting the dirty side of those amp. On the clean side, it's fine, but if you want to boost a lead tone by punching it in the face, on the dirty side. It doesn't do that real well for me. Not like something with 4 or 5 preamp tubes in it. Okay, so that's these 3 pedals reviewed. If you have any knowledge of the Dracaris, I'd appreciate some feedback on that. And then, pardon the appearance today. I was cutting wood, so I smell like big saw exhaust and sawdust. Which is funny because California is now pushing to ban all gas-powered lawn equipment, like your weed eater, your blowers, your chainsaws, your lawnmowers, which is probably going to be fine because we don't have enough water anymore to water the lawns anyway. So what's the point of having yard equipment? What, the trees and the grass are going to die in a state that is really heavy in promoting the environmental aspect of things. So you'd think they would want us to have lots of trees and grass because that's good for the environment. And yet they're going to limit your ability to take care of said lawn and trees and gardens. It's a mess. Anyway, you guys all take care. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. We'll catch you next time.